All right, people, today I am joined by Caleb once more to discuss Tears of the Kingdom. This is a spoiler-free video, spoiler-free zone. We're going to do another video similar to this, probably later today or tomorrow, talking about kind of the same general vibe of how exciting the game is, but in that video we'll include some basic spoiler stuff, so stay tuned for that. But Caleb, today I wanted to just talk about Tears of the Kingdom, and as we've gotten closer to launch with more trailers and gameplay from the previews and even a little bit of spoilers and leaks, I have gotten so much more excited for this game than I ever thought I could be. Every year there's like 2 games that I get really excited for. Last year it was Xenoblade and Pokemon. This year it's Zelda, and well, that's it for now. I can't.
Pikmin 4, baby.
Yeah, Pikmin 4, baby. I mean, that is exciting. But I genuinely can't remember the last time I was this excited for just a game, just to play the game. Right? I mean, maybe. And that, of course, had a new console with it, so that was an entirely different thing in of itself. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about how exciting this game is, especially from the standpoint of the fact that, and you can see this in the thumbnail of the video, this has basically been 10 years in the making. When the Wii U came out in 2012, and Nintendo immediately knew it was going to fail, they did that infamous January 2013 Wii U Direct. And in that Direct, they basically revealed the entire lineup. And in that Direct, they revealed Wind Waker HD, and then Aonuma kind of came on screen saying, hey, this is what we're doing for the next 3D Zelda. We're going to rethink these conventions, we're going to rethink the series, and basically reboot it. And that ended up becoming Breath of the Wild. We later saw a trailer for that at E3 2014. And then eventually became Breath of the Wild, and we got it released in 2017. Obviously, Tears of the Kingdom is not Breath of the Wild. However, it's reusing the base ground map and just adding stuff to it. But it's rare to see something like this where, I mean, this was literally a decade ago now. And assuming they don't do a third game, Caleb, this is truly the culmination of 10 years, almost probably 11 years, because I assume they started that in 2012. 11 years of development for one video game from a competent developer. We've seen games like Duke Nukem Forever or something like that, or Dead Island 2 just came out, where it gets swapped around between different developers and it's, has its troubled history. I mean, Breath of the Wild had troubled history with them getting the physics to work. That's why that game took so long, but for the most part, pretty smooth sailing. So just 11 years of raw development time to make a video game.
Yeah.
It's exciting, man.
Yeah, and basically, obviously, Tears of the Kingdom specifically took like 6 years, but the reason we're saying basically 11 years is because Tears of the Kingdom was basically building off of Breath of the Wild. So Breath of the Wild was basically like a halfway point to Tears of the Kingdom, pretty much. But the thing is, looking at the trailers and stuff, and Aonuma's like gameplay and all this, showing Fuse and all that, this literally just looks like, it makes Breath of the Wild look like a beta for like the game.
Yeah,
it looks like pre-release.
Yeah,
like,
no, literally, and that's why I'm almost kind of scared. And it's kind of why I'm glad I decided to replay Breath of the Wild last month, because, listen, I think that game's always gonna have a special place in my heart, and I'm sure it's always gonna be a fun game. It is a fun game still to this day. It held up as much as I could have expected it to. 6 years later, replaying it for the first time, but it's not even about like mechanically. Mechanically, Tears of the Kingdom may feel pretty similar. Obviously, Fuse and Ultra Hand are huge deals, but in terms of like the exploration and all that, it might feel pretty similar to Breath of the Wild, just in terms of that kind of scope, in terms, mechanically. But in terms of the content in the game, and once again, we're not talking spoilers here, but just in terms of what we know pre-release, but between them adding the Sky Islands, and we've seen, confirmation from the Aonuma gameplay demonstration that there's caves in the game now. We have what we, can presume to be shrines. Dude, Breath of the Wild, and one of the biggest complaints from a lot of people I've seen is that the map was empty. Koroks aren't enticing enough. It remains to be seen just how full and rich and dense this game is, but man, it definitely seems a lot better than Breath of the Wild, and I never really had that complaint with Breath of the Wild. I kind of like the loneliness and the empty space in between things, because it made each, point of interest even more exciting when you find one, like some ruins or a shrine or a stable, that kind of thing. But in this game, from all the footage we've seen, dude, it looks like every 10 feet or something. So
yeah,
if Breath of the Wild was the prototype, then the past 6 years, they've just been filling that map with the most content possible, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, and this is definitely like going to be way more dense than Breath of the Wild is, because if you just think about this, Breath of the Wild, it just had the overworld map. That's it. This, we already know there's Sky Islands, as well, obviously the overworld map as well, and there's going to be some caves and stuff. So, could you imagine how many caves and shrines there are? This is going to be ridiculous. Now, my only worry is going to be like, how different can they be if there's so many of them? But it it's not really
Yeah,
that big of an issue. It's just there's still a lot to do, and you're not going to be bored.
yeah, I do wonder the variety in terms of the caves specifically, because in the gameplay that Aonuma did once again, there was like 3 right next to each other, and he went into one, and it was literally just like 3 enemies, and I think a chest or something, right? That's when he used the send in the demonstration. But
Yeah,
then,
there wasn't much in there.
right, so but then I imagine there probably will be caves that take you like 20 minutes, 30 minutes to just go through. It's like this deep cavern or something. Um, So it'll be, there'll be very much variety in terms of scope of the cave, similar to how the shrines were in Breath of the Wild. There were some shrines you walk in there, you do one thing, and then you're done. So depending on how many caves there are, that will, it's good to have short ones. It's good to have short caves, because then it's like, okay, well then it makes the longer caves even more exciting. And just the idea of them spending the past 6 years filling this map. I do wonder also with Koroks, because we've seen those are back. I do wonder how many of those are in the game. And that's actually something that has not been leaked yet. If there were 900 in Breath of the Wild, right?
Yeah, there was 900.
I don't even, dude. I can't even imagine how many there are.
To be honest, I kind of hope that there's less this time. I know it's like it doesn't really make sense for them to be less because
There's more map with the Sky Islands.
there's more. Yeah, there's more map, but I kind of want there to be less because in Breath of the Wild, literally only half of them were useful. After you reach like 400 Koroks, you can't upgrade your inventory anymore. The rest is just you literally don't get anything for it, except for at the 900th Korok, you get a thing in your inventory. That's it.
Yeah.
It's not. It doesn't even do anything.
The poop.
It's just like basically a trophy.
Yeah, which I mean, like, I don't know. People always kind of trash on the Crocs as a concept because they don't think they're that enticing to collect. For me, the fun of Breath of the Wild was just exploring and just finding new things. Even if the reward wasn't great, it was still fun for me to collect them. I didn't do all 900 no shot.
No, of course.
But I definitely understand where people are coming from with that. Yeah, I do wonder though if, let's just say there's 1,000 in this game, which I think is realistic at least. If they're similar puzzles, I think we've seen some that might look a little bit more in depth. Like you have to, there was that one Korok with like a big bag or something. So maybe there's like some other like actual side quests of that, and maybe you get like 10 from him or something, right? 10 Korok seeds. Yeah. I do wonder what they could do for a reward for that, because like inventory slots, I think that's safe to assume they're probably gonna do that again.
Yeah, probably.
Did you have to upgrade like gear slots?
Was just it was just sword, shield, and bow.
Okay, so maybe they would make it so you have to upgrade your inventory for gear, upgrade inventory for recipe cards. We have the Zonai pieces now that are like a separate tab in the menu, the little capsules. So maybe those, but then that might get annoying, to be honest. If it's like, oh, you can't pick up this gear.
Well, to be honest, I don't know. I know I said I don't really like the fact that there was too many Koroks, but at the same time, it kind of makes sense because if you think about it, I don't think they ever intended anyone to actually collect all 900 of them, especially since you don't get anything for the second half. The only reason there were so many of them is so that there'd be enough that you can just come across them randomly and have enough without even looking for them to be able to upgrade your inventory. So I feel like a lot of them were just extra, just that you could see something when you're walking somewhere and be like, oh, let me just grab that. Compared to like if there was fewer of them, it'd be harder to find.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Caleb, do you have any final closing thoughts here on Tears of the Kingdom before we immediately go record that spoiler discussion? So, any final spoiler free thoughts? I'm more excited to get into that one, honestly. But
yeah, this game is just gonna be incredible, based on Breath of the Wild, which was already a 10 out of 10 game, and like you said in a previous thing, Tears of the Kingdom is gonna be like a 12. Because it's
gonna be a 12
this literally
10, yeah.
this is gonna be the first quadruple A game.
Yeah, sorry, Perfect Dark, eat your heart out.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, you can follow Caleb on Twitter at Caleb_Bravo99. You can follow me on Twitter, not the same at, that would be weird. It's at Botox Games. And follow me here on YouTube as well for Tears of the Kingdom coverage. I've really been appreciating all the support here as of late, so stay tuned for more Tears of the Kingdom stuff. Thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.
See you later.